All right, I really like these EMERBU ARP9s. These are the Tian Gong or TG ARP9 with a Gen 8.5 gearbox that's already been fully upgraded. And I've been able to get enough of these where I can do some different custom builds. So, of course, I'm going to use what I have and put together some cool things. So, you've seen a couple different ARP9 variations since I kind of started doing these. I guess it was December was the first one I did, the end of December. And kind of each time I figured out ways to make them new and better and a little different. And that's kind of what I did here as well. So what I was looking to do here was to make basically a handguard attachment that would go onto the factory ARP9 without doing any sort of cutting. You'll notice the first few couple ARP9 customs I did, I actually cut the handguard, which is fine. It's just obviously more of a permanent thing, and a lot of people aren't as willing to go ahead and cut their blasters up, which makes sense to me. I probably wouldn't either, except that I have so many, and I feel pretty comfortable knowing what I'm doing. So, since I'd already done a few different things where I had some pieces kind of ready, I basically made a piece that allows you to put a barrel, nut, and then a handguard onto your ARP9. So that's how this piece works. This piece goes in, and this is just already all connected with, the adapter piece for the handguard and everything. And the reason why I did that is it's screwed on really tight. So after I got it on there, I'm like, I'm not going to deal with unscrewing it, but there's threads underneath here, right? And then this is kind of your outer barrel up right into your gas block and your threaded tip. And if you are wondering, that's from an HK 416. Which was actually an EMERBU blaster as well. So this piece, this whole front barrel could be unscrewed and taken off, and you just have the threads there. But again, since it was on there tight, I'm going to leave it on. And so how this piece attaches is, of course, we'd slide it over the barrel in this case, and this mounts in there. And then you can see I used rivet nuts, and of course mounted them from the top so that when you're screwing down, it holds them in nice and tight. And so the screws are in these rivet nuts are held in right here, and they're using the holes that were already there for the stock rails. So no holes need to be drilled really into this. I did have to widen them out slightly, but that's about it. And then you can see I made that little notch there as well. And that's just specifically for this handguard because this handguard has that notch right there. Okay. So this one lined up perfect if you went ahead and put it on, which is technically upside down. So the way that this one is put on here is technically, upside down, and that'll slide right on there. This will just slide over and go in, and those will just line up. It's actually probably easier for me to do it and just put this piece on first. So again, everything goes together nice and tight. So this piece I would go ahead and slide on here first, and I do need to line it up. So those pieces are, these little white pieces that you see on the metal barrel here are just stabilizers, right? And so then I just use some electrical tape to kind of tape them in place so they don't move when we're going in. And that first one was a little tight. I'm not sure. I guess it wasn't sanded as nice as these. So this would go ahead and slide all the way on. And then I do need to unscrew that because I have to lift this up slightly to get that into place. All right. But so that's what those little white pieces are for. Those are what I'd call stabilizers. Okay. And the pieces of electrical tape are just there to hold them in place. So this last one's a little off. I should sand it slightly so it goes on smoother. This is a nice long metal barrel from an M249. Here's the standard length barrel that comes with these, right? So obviously quite a bit longer. And I already tested it out, even going to this nice long barrel, which is, more than twice as long. Still good FPS. Plus I bumped up the spring a little bit. We're at around 320 FPS right now as it sits. So that's good. I'm very happy with that. So it's going to go ahead. It'll have this handguard on here, right? So you're going to get to see that handguard on there. And then the metal tip should come right out, just outside of the threads, which is where we want it exactly. Also, buffer tube adapter, so we can switch to a buffer tube here. So this will have a buffer tube with the battery in that, of course. This was the stock I was going for. Now, even though the handguard's definitely going to be secure on there based on how I have that set up, I'm also going to go ahead and do a couple different things. I've got these little rail pieces on the side that are going to go on, and that hole is actually going to mount the screw that holds that rail to the handguard. So that's going to help add stability there, and then it'll just have a traditional rail attachment on this side of this handguard. So that also just gives it a nice look, because that's kind of where the two handguards come together. So you have that as a way to join them. This piece that's just standard will go on top. The circle's there because that's where I'm going to put my little sticker logo. So if you're wondering, you can see I've done a little bit of a hex kind of theme throughout. Some canted risers that'll go for our flip-up sights most likely. And then this nice big Hera-style grip that's going to kind of join the two together and really give it not only stability but looks and function. So there you go, my newest EMERBU ARP9 build plan. A lot of information there, but I think you're going to really like how it turns out. So far, I'm really liking it, really liking the performance. So it should look really cool, kind of be a really nice kind of long ARP9. Comments, questions, post them below. Like, subscribe, share my channel with your friends, participate in those monthly giveaways, and make sure you ring the bell for the notifications so you know when the new videos are posted. Thanks.